Hi lovelies, welcome to my life and tarot. This is the fifth part of the Into the Pips series, and as I did the number 4 in 2 parts, so it would be maybe easier to follow and maybe to participate in. So I am now, from now on, doing until the 10, doing it in 2 parts. First the wands and the swords, and in the second part the cups and the coins. So let's jump right in. Number 5 numerologically is a little tower moment, as I refer to it, because it messes everything up right in the middle of the numbers 1 to 10. It stirs things and gives this, adds this new energy to it. Okay, so number 5 also being the, as number 4 was all the 5 elements, now with the 5th element, the spirit, is added. So not only is this somewhat dynamic and energetic, but it also signifies that this is the spiritual overpowering the material. The spirit added to the material elements is important with 5s. So it can also be static and flexible and adjustable. So with the spirit added to the mix, this means that 5 senses, the humankind with all the elements pulled together, while not stable per se compared to 4, this is a number of new energy added to the stability, which of course will shake this foundation that was number 4, as well as the, let's just look at this card. The added element is clearly showing the structure, the stability of 4s, and now there's 5th going different direction even. So with the 5s, if you think of number 5, how it is looking like, or how the 5 is written, then it shows the flexibility. If number 4 is stable, grounded number, so number 5 can be flexible and go around the stable parts of the all the elements, plus then the mind or the spirit added, which shows that the added spirit is at first not balancing the whole structure, but is tilting it somewhat out of the box, or adding this new breath to it. Also, number 5 is daring and is always in motion and in constant change because of the spirit wanting and searching for new values and everything. So it's constantly in motion, the number 5, which our spirit should be and is. Therefore, it's also unpredictable somewhat. So let's have a look-see at the swords. First, the Visconti's Forza. Here you can see the added spirit. It's not piercing anything, it's just added to the structure. So from this, I read this card as added value, the new upright goal, or the pointing upright, which means the goals are now higher than the material and raised above the needs or wants of the material thinking. So this card I would read as a aim higher and lean on the structure that has built so far, yet don't stand on it. Don't lean on it to stay, but aim higher, go forth, etc. So this card is not a negative card at all. Now I am taking out the different types of Marseille, pretty much showing the same thing here. Whereas in this deck, the sword added, or the 5th sword, is back behind of the 4 or the other ones, which means added idea, added spirit will support this situation and think even further. This is not messing with the structure. This will support the structure with the energy and aiming higher aspect. Yet in these two you can see the sword is going in between the weave. No, it was, I'm sorry, it's going through the weave in here, so this is obstructing. 5th element, the spirit, the drive added, will mess up the structure for a while, yet it is pointed upward, meaning that keep pushing and upwards. Goals must be set higher and using the movement or added element, new idea, has to be constructive, not destructive at this point with this card. So moving forth wisely. In this one you can see it is behind the structure, which is pretty much the same as in here. It is supportive, not interfering with the stability. So this is the uplifting, upbringing, going forth, etc. Rather, now in this one, the sword is pointing downwards and is in front of the structure in 4. Yet, as you see, maybe you can see, I hope you can see, it has the beautiful ribbon around it, and the ribbon is attached to the other swords up there. Yet you can see down here it's not attached. The way, the path where this sword is going is downwards, which is not good. It is in front of the structure, which means something has made too important and it has to be held back, because otherwise it will fall out of the picture. It's not uplifting or going forward, it's going downwards. It is going maybe to drag the whole idea, situation downwards, and the structure can't support this situation. The structure is rather holding on to the loose end in here that tries to irrationally maybe go out of the picture. And the structure has to be strong. When we are going to read those cards in spreads, then the direction where the swords, the 5th one, is pointing becomes significant as well. In this one, the 5th one is obstructing the structure. It is just standing in between and breaking it up, so to speak. Yet there's foliage or the flowers in here, but it has cut the 4 in half. There's 2 separate ones on both sides and then the 5th in the middle. So this card tells about the not so good situation, not so upbringing, uplifting, etc. This is just something has come in between and demolished or cut the structure in half, and now it is important to remove this from here. So the new things that has been coming along, the spirit added to the structure, has not been so well thought through, and it will not go anywhere. This is pretty much stuck situation. So here the adjusting is needed in order to go forth. In this one, swords are pointing downwards, all of them, and in one they are pointing in one direction. The focus is in one thing, while the pattern is like the bouquet of flowers. This can be read as growing, but as the swords are pointing downwards, this situation would be better to turn around because the focus is on a wrong thing in here. The energy that has thought to put into this or planned or is put into this doesn't serve you, and this card in the up reversed position is the way you should be going, focused and upwards and forward. This is focused on the past maybe, or again, which card appears down here, the focus is on the wrong thing. What is the wrong thing in here? The card down there will tell you. Next is interesting one, is the medieval tarot, and you can see angels whipping the poor guy king. It appears the crown is on the floor and he is remorseful, I want to say. So angels are not the God punishing you, but the angels show that the person is punishing himself and feeling sorry about himself and being maybe done something wrong and now is ready to take the responsibility in order to move out of this situation. The lesson has been learned. If you look at the swords, the four are in a beautiful formation but pointing downwards, so the structure is stagnate maybe in this one, and the fifth is pointing upwards. So this card, I would read it as a understanding of your actions and thoughts, what has been made, and letting it through your system and forgiving in order to forgive yourself, not going all out and feeling guilty about everything, because this is guilty, this is remorse, this is something that can't let us move forward, and the self-sabotaging maybe, but something lesson that has been learned or has to be learned in this. So in here the swords are all mangled up. You can't even tell if the fifth sword or where the two back sword further swords are, how they are entangled. This looks like stuck situation, and if you look at the image, I hope it focuses, there are warriors or crusaders that are threatening the people, townspeople, let's say, with the swords. So this situation has not been pre-thought, and someone is under attack and is in a tough situation, and the someone that is in a tough situation is more or less innocent, because the intruder is trying to harass them or do something not so good, harming them, etc. So you can be on both sides. If this comes up in a reading, think through if you are the aggressor or if you are the victim here, and how you can get yourself out of this situation. So again, this card in the reverse is better than the upright, meaning so being under enormous distress without even the townspeople have no weapons to protect them. So this is like this bullying situation in here. This one is interesting. A lot like, I want to say, the what is this then now? The 5 of coins of the Rider-Waite system. So poverty, and yet there's the waxing young moon there, which shows that the start of something is coming, and the need to readjust things, but also this is the start of the becoming full, and this is not a good situation to be in. Although the swords are forming not only obstacle for this person, so they can't go forth, or they are like overthinking how they are obstructed to do something, and like fenced off. It is also in a ladder formation, which means there is a possibility to go up, and the swords are not, the sword tips are not pointing anywhere, they are in the ground, so the situation is pretty much solid. The structure, this card comes up, then it would show as the card, the person is looking into the past, the situation that they are in is because of the past, and they are moving into the past to avoid this obstacle or avoid this growth possibility. Therefore, their situation is not of a abundant one, and this should be turned around. They should be going elsewhere. They should be seeing the possibility to grow from this situation, and they should understand that the reason they are in this right now is because of something they did in the past that backfired. Growth, need of the growth. So in this one, the alchemical tarot, it is totally different. You can see a craftsman completing an order. Swords are pointing upwards, downwards. The upper swords tips are not even visible, and you can see the lower two swords are worn. They have holes in them, and the upper ones are fixed. So this person fixes the broken swords. The possibility to fix the foundation is presented, and now it's time to fix the situation in order to go forward. The broken swords are pointing downwards, they are holding back, they need to be fixed. The lesson has to be learned, and the already fixed, and as new swords are pointing upwards. And also, if you can see mountains back there, mountains on the cards when they are on the background also show me that there is a possibility to climb higher, but this is a long way from this point. Something has to be done, plan has to be made in order to go upwards. So the mountain top is actually visible. It is not unreachable to him, but he has to finish this. He has to fix this situation, has to learn from this in order to move on, to evolve, etc. And not the last one, but now for the Giovanni Vacetta deck. This is totally different, doesn't it? What is this then? The edge of something has been reached. The swords are left here, the glove, the helmet. This person who left those war tools here has met the end of the road with this idea, with this goal they had, and they rethought, they made a new plan, they left the swords and fighting tools behind and took a new path. The lesson has been already learned. How the swords are hanging in there freely, while they are indeed pointing downwards. The longest ones are in the ground, so solid, and on this the new formation has been built. So this shows the lesson already has been learned, and the person has already moved on without fighting it, without going into conflict, without trying to pass this void that they reached. They just left all here and took another path, so to speak. So now the last one is from the pagan otherworlds, which is based on Rider White, yet you can read it as hips. So all the swords are pointing downwards. Two of them are already set. So almost half of this situation has already resolved. But the ones in the air, they are mangled. The water storming behind there, showing that the emotions are wanting to take over. It is a inner fight, inner storm, inner conflict, where the rational and the emotional are clashing and obstructing to move on from this point and resolve this. Also, the old clouds there show that the thinking clearly part. is missing from here. This is clouded thinking, this is obstructed. There is a need to find the balance between emotions and rationality in order to get these three swords also grounded. And the rocks down there promise maybe a little bit of not the smooth but rocky path on resolving the situation, and the need to go forth mindfully so one doesn't trip on the obstacles or the rocks on the ground, so they doesn't fall, but rational and intelligence or emotional are in the clashing powers with this one. Next is the wands. Structure, I see a beautiful pattern in here, so this action is supported and solid. The spirit will support this situation, spirit added, new energy added, will hold this thing solidly. And as it is a action-based suit or creativity suit, then this one shows that actually you are on the right path. Keep this balance and keep this course. Now for the beautiful yet pretty similar Marseille style, Marseille deck and Marseille style decks. You can see the foliage growing out of the knot here, and the little red in between these other ones is showing that again this is standing behind the other ones, the structure. This is supporting the idea, it is not obstructing, this is adding to the solid movement of this situation, and it promises already or has already given fruits. Some kind of results are already showing, so keep going and keep growing. In this one you can see a little eye peeking from back there. It's on the fifth wand that is supporting the others. The eye, the mind, the spirit, the third eye, the intuition has added to the material. So again, not at all negative card. Shows that intuitively we have reached the stability, and it is also giving blooms already. And if you can handle this and see clearly through it, then the blossoming will be even more or better. Now with this one, the same, it is behind the structural 4, yet in this one it doesn't show it. The fifth wand, not is it only different, but it doesn't show where the middle, where the center of it is. the foliage, everything is growing out from the structure, but the fifth one is back there and we can't even tell. Maybe it's broken from the middle. We don't see it. It certainly doesn't support it. It is a little bit out of the center also, if you can see it. It is more on the left. So this situation is not yet balanced and centered. This is not a mess also, but it has no center. It has to be adjusted. Something has to be changed. And as it is leaning or it is positioning a little bit left, which means it is from on the past side. So if we think of the added wand coming in from the past and then moving into the center, it is not yet there, or it was added into the center but it is moving towards the past. So think what is holding it off the center, what's on the left of this card, what's pulling it away from the center, what is the unbalance, the reason for this unbalanced situation. The main structure is solid, but the new energy that should be there, that is there, is not centered, is not added correctly. So this, with this one, like with the swords, if you remember, this is obstructing, this is messing with the four, cutting the four, I hope I can find it, cutting the four in half. And whereas here there are flowers, so it can be fixed, the reminder of it can be fixed. This one doesn't even promise, it is in the air. The thing is not solid, the thing is just hanging in there. And this is like juggling, and something is out of the juggling ring and will be falling upon you. So this action that has now applied, or this spirit or new growth that has been maybe anticipated, has not paid off. This is something that now has to be turned around and juggled around. So if they fall, you have to pick up the pieces and try again, because the structure is not there anymore. If we think how it is in the action-based reading, then this card immediately shows that the actions, the plans, the idea, not the ideas, the creativity is a mess. This is a mess situation. This is not going anywhere. It has to be remade in order to go forth. And again, the learning or the growing part is coming out of this situation. When we fix this, we can evaluate this, we can move on smarter from this one. In here, you can see that while blooming again, these wands are growing in a separate direction yet. There's 3 growth spirals on the one of them and 2 on the other, and they are intertwined. This is like the beans and the what are the other, like peas. When they grow, they try to grab each other, grab onto something in order to grow up, and they seldom lay on the ground. So you can see here that the supporting each other, there is a need for the supporting, not only this action. Maybe you need to lean on someone else in order to grow, and the intertwined growth is showing that this can't be done alone. Something or someone is needed in order to go forth from this, and again, cards that are around this will show what's in there, what was in the past, what is in the future, whatever. So this tells that it can't be handled alone. The added force was too much, and the growth is only possible with cooperation from this. So move on smartly and don't try to go solo on this one. This one is showing 2 beautiful angels with the celebrational wreath, the laurel wreath between them, and the wreath is holding the rod where the wands are hanging from, and the middle one being the most important, most beautiful. And look at how these are all in balance, and this card immediately tells that this is the point you can now celebrate your achievements, because you have overcome the discrepancy of losing balance after the structure. You have already successfully added the 5th element to this, and it is beautifully already balanced out. With this way, it will fall apart like this. It is a beautiful cooperation, and with the angels and the wrath, celebrate the possibility that you already have grabbed and realized, and the angels are like the higher hint that you have done right. You will be succeeding on whatever you are doing or what you asked upon. So probably the lesson has learned, because hanging them in here so it wouldn't fall apart or slide away from there is a smart and thought through process. So you have done well. You have achieved a balance without losing it, and you have moved past the struggle without having to be in the struggle. You have avoided this smartly, and well done, so to speak. Now in this one, you can see the wands and the batons and the crowns. There are more crowns than the batons, but the middle baton is seemingly going through all those four middle crowns in there. Doesn't show, but it is standing upon it or leaning on it. And the flowers and the balanced structure of the wands, how they are creating this pattern, shows the star flowers or whatever. So this means the fame or the power that is now coming out of this situation, or that again, like in this one, great balance has been achieved without much struggle. The path or the choices have been smart, so the outcome is promising and solid and powerful, because all the crowns, all the powers that are standing like a base of those wands or batons are. And if you look at this tower of crowns, they are holding up the structure, and the crowns beside them just are supporting this. They are just standing beside. So again, it might mean that you have your team behind you, or you have the other people that support you with their mind, their stability, and you are not alone in this situation. You have achieved this together, so don't think you are alone. Don't think you've done it yourself maybe. So this is a teamwork success in here. Now this one shows I want to say it's giant, but it's actually just a bearded man coming out of the water. The sash is flying in the wind, and there's a baby on his shoulders, piggybacking, is it? I don't know how it's called, but the baby is like, yes, we reached the shore. They are just about to step out of the water, so they are coming onto the solid ground, solid path, so to speak, and all the wands are pointing upwards in this one. This is a little wind, or even you have successfully passed the river or the water on your path or on your way, and you are now stepping on the solid ground again, celebrating or celebration of the smart choices. Also with water, emotions and going, they probably didn't know how deep the water was, but they used this stick to feel the depth of the water before just marching in and maybe drowning or getting all wet or not so good situations. So they moved across this smartly and carefully, and now is time to celebrate, and the path is yet solid and you can just go forth, and it is really promising situation to be. Again, reminds that celebrate your little wins and be happy because you have avoided, probably smartly with intuition, whatever you used, or your actions, you avoided the discrepancy of the fives, and you are already moving on from this without having to struggle. You used the fifth element, the spirit, wisely in order to move forward. Now, for this one, the batons are all pointing upwards, yet you can see the birds. I hope it focuses, please focus. Birds are stealing the crops. They are all over the berry bushes, and they are cleaning it up. There's nothing left, so something else will come along and take all that you have grown. Something else from, maybe you should have been more wary, protected your work with the net or something, because we all know that birds come to steal. You have laid your ideas or something out there, and now you are losing it because you wasn't prepared for something like this happening, or you were cocky enough to think that you can dodge it somewhat. And the wands pointing upwards is showing that there's a lesson needed to be learned from this. Next time, protect your work, because you have worked long enough to wait for the crops to grow, and now the birds just came in and took it all. So in order not to lose next time, be prepared and think smartly, because the sky thought through how to proceed. This here is not a planned and thought through situation. This just happened because the preparedness was not there. And the next one is pagan other words. So first of all, first thing I noticed on this card, the tents back there. Also the mishmash in here. This is no order. This is again blocked situation. But the tents, the war tents, so to speak, at old times, I think I mentioned it before in other numbers, when there were in number 2, there were the tents also in the Old English Tarot, for example. This shows that two opposite sides, they are on a same field. So now there is a possibility to work things through without going into battle. But this situation is brewing. So this is like the limbo of how now the actions that now are made will decide if this is going to be a bloody battle or a truth, or some kind of a midway has found to in between those two different sides. And again, the stones or the rocks in here show that if not proceeded mindfully, you can trip on those rocks and find yourself facing the ground. So mindfully, there's no hurry, and pre-thinking of the sky is so good. Like the um, way to show it with this card. And again, the out of the balance is visible here also. Something has to be moved carefully, shifted, for it to be in balance, because this situation might lead into later troubles or battle. But right now there is no battle. This is the decisions that will bring forth the outcome. Not yet has been decided. So this was the wands. Oh, I forgot. I wanted to show this one also. This is the Arthurian Tarot, Spear 5, the wands, spears in this one. The sun is rising and the weapons are leaning onto the big rock, showing the sacred space where the chiefs have came into the meeting to, like, as they are crossed, a hint to the opposite, hint to these war tents. So how now to proceed from this one? It is basically the same. You can't see more spears, but two beautifully showing that this is like this limbo right now, and the sun is rising, the new day where the things are in light, and the thing has to be decided in a manner that will not bring forth war, for example, or further battle or really bad situation for everyone. So this is the first part of the Into the Pips. If you want to find all the pip series I'm doing, just put the hashtag Into the Pips into the search bar of the YouTubes, and you will find everything in under there or in there. So these were the fives of swords and batons or wands. Next will be the cups and the coins. Thank you for watching and happy pipping. Voice cracks.